Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Klutzy Crab in the relationships subreddit. The post is titled, "My boyfriend and I have too much and I can't handle it anymore. How do I explain to him that it exhausts me? How do I negotiate new intimacy with him? My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years now. He is my first relationship and even my first kiss. We met during university through activities, became friends, and then started dating. He is so polite and kind, as well as really sweet and smart. We can talk about our common interests and hobbies for hours on end. Since I was a virgin in the relationship, we took it slow and only had sex when I was ready, which was about 8 months after we became a couple. After that, we had sex about once every 1 or 2 weeks, depending on whether we found the time during our studies and if we were exhausted. Sometimes during exam time, we only had it once a month or every 5 weeks. But slowly, he started to initiate more and more. At first, I didn't mind and loved the attention he was giving me. I felt attractive and beautiful, which helped my body image issues a lot. Soon, it turned into him asking for it every single day, sometimes twice a day on weekends, or if we had a slow day with little work and studies. A month ago, we went on vacation together and he basically jumped on me as soon as we got into our hotel room. We barely got to do anything else as he wanted to have 2, if not 3 times a day. I came back so exhausted from the vacation. I even started saying no to him eating me out, or role-playing, or switching positions, just to get it over with sooner. At this point, sex does nothing for me anymore. The mere action and physical stimulation feel enjoyable, yes, but just without anything else just isn't worth the time or effort for me. I need a story and emotion with it. Lots of dirty talk and role-playing in some hot situations. I know that takes time and effort to prepare, but it gets me going wildly. But even if I could have that every day, I wouldn't want it. It's literally physically too exhausting. Also, I feel like too much sex kind of destroys the magic. I know that he derives a lot emotionally and sexually from sex. It makes him feel loved and desired, and I don't want to take that away from him. But I actually caught myself not doing any makeup anymore and not wearing tight or short clothing, opting for baggy ones instead, to maybe deter him from wanting sex so much. User Mystic Pizza said, "You need to say no to him and then deal with whatever comes up together. Stop running away from what you imagine he might feel. Unloved, rejected, sad, angry, and face it together. If he believes he needs to feel connected to you, he needs to learn to use his words. He's not going to learn that if you keep avoiding a conversation about how you don't feel able to say no to him. I am still new to navigating romantic relationships and I don't want to reject him. He always respects me and I never felt like he did anything without my consent. It's just that this consent seems to exhaust me a lot. I definitely plan on having an honest discussion with him, but I am also aware that I could benefit from help in navigating a negotiation of intimacy. I thought about proposing a schedule that combines having sex with date nights while also creating date nights with no expectation of sex." User Business Ad said, "You don't owe him sex. Being in a relationship doesn't mean you have to have sex with him all the time. Stand up for yourself. Tell him no. Sit down with him and share everything you just wrote. If you don't want to have sex, say it." User Grave Raider Girl said, "Your body is not his fleshlight or an object for his pleasure solely. It's a shared experience. Your body and spirit are connected in the experience together. My long-distance ex wanted to play all the time on the phone, which cost me sleep and cut into my time management and schedule. It was so frequent that I became swollen down there, and it took a long time to heal. He knew I needed a break, but still wanted me to do things for him, even though it made my discomfort worse. He prioritized his wants over mine, and I let it happen. He also had a addiction that he was trying to address. While he managed to stay away from porn, I realized that I was becoming a replacement for him because he wanted access to me whenever he wanted." Update. I spent a lot of time reading through everyone's replies and reflecting on how I feel. I gathered my thoughts and spent a few days making a list of what I wanted to say when we had the big conversation. On a weekend when we had planned to spend the day together, I sat him down and told him the following points. I love him to the moon and back and want to show him that I love him, making him feel desired, loved, and appreciated. But having so much with such frequency is physically exhausting for me, which causes me to avoid sex and even acts that I enjoy because I don't have enough energy or motivation to engage in them. This also means that I orgasm less often now. I need time to physically recover, as it can even start to become painful. I feel like sex has become the single defining aspect of our relationship, while many other parts, like doing activities together, going on romantic dates, just talking and cuddling, have taken a back seat. I also feel emotionally exhausted and underappreciated from giving as much as I can while receiving little in return from the other side of the relationship. I then proceeded to explain the things I enjoy during sex and what makes me go wild, hoping to show him that I still want to be intimate with him. I also made a few more compliments just to keep the vibe positive, and because I meant it. He reacted pretty well, all things considered. He listened and let me finish, but asked for a little time to think about it. Obviously, I gladly agreed. We spent the rest of the day together without him initiating once. At the end of the day, he said that he wants me to enjoy sex just as much as he does and that he loves me. I was really hopeful for the next week and a half. We spent our time together as usual, and he asked for about half as often as before our talk. We even had days without sex at all. He also started asking, "Do you want to have sex with me?" instead of physically initiating like he did before, such as touching me or hugging me from behind. He also stopped asking for pictures of me, and when he did ask, they were just selfies. I was so happy that I even took the initiative once, and he seemed to love it when I asked for sex. Then one day he sat me down with a stern look and said that he hated what this relationship has turned into. To him, it feels like we are now just roommates or platonic friends instead of lovers. He told me that when I initiated after our talk, he was overjoyed to finally nail me again, but his heart was broken because I suddenly wasn't as submissive as usual, and that all of this is not what he signed up for. He doesn't want to walk on eggshells waiting for when I am finally in the mood. He wants what he deserves in this relationship. Basically, he gave me an ultimatum. Either we return to how things were before our talk starting right now, or he leaves me. Guess who doesn't have a boyfriend anymore? I spent the last few days bawling my eyes out, eating lots of ice cream and watching some terrible shows. What he said hurt me a lot, and while I do not love him anymore, the feeling of loss and sadness is all too real. He was my first relationship, and for the past 2 years, he was my entire world. Now I have to gather up the broken shards he left behind. This next post was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Candid Spot. The post is titled, "My foster family of 11 years is kicking me out by the end of the week. I have nowhere to go and I feel broken. I, 18M, was told earlier today that I need to pack up and leave by the end of the week. I still feel in shock. I was removed from my biological family when I was 7 due to issues with my parents. I was then placed in foster care and matched with a couple who I will call the Peters. It's not their real name. No matter how much I actually want to blast their real info, I won't. The Peters were always really nice to me, and since I moved in when I was pretty young, I eventually started to consider them my parents. I called them mom and dad and treated them as my parents, treating their biological son as my brother. I wasn't their only foster child. They also had a 9-year-old boy who had lived with us for a little over a year. I was never adopted by them, and I know why. They live off the fostering allowance. This never really bothered me. They told me that it didn't matter and that legality didn't make us a family, which I believed. I went on their agency website earlier today and found out that they were getting paid at least £2,400 for me per month. Or at least they were, since they stopped getting the allowance when I turned 18. However, they applied for a staying put arrangement for me, which meant they would continue getting paid something as they supported me and let me live with them. It wasn't as much. I think it was around $1,000 per month. They told me they had it approved until I was 21, so I thought I'd be able to stay at least until I finished university. They sat me down today and told me I had to leave. They said that fostering is a business and that they couldn't afford to keep me on just the staying put arrangement allowance. They told me I had until the end of the week, 4 days. How generous of them. They said they needed my room because they wanted to get a new foster placement. They literally told me it's not personal. Like, that makes me feel any better. They said they would still consider me like a son, but not their son anymore, just like a son. And that they want to keep in touch. What a joke. They chose to kick me out, an 18-year-old with no job, no income, nothing, about to start university. Yet their biological son, who is 25, gets to stay. So yeah, I guess screw me, right? I'm just the one no one ever wanted. I guess I wasn't ever truly part of their family. Mini update. Okay, thank you all for your advice. Honestly, I was in a state of shock yesterday and maybe still am today. I wasn't thinking straight. I only slept 2 hours last night and that's all, so I'm probably a little delirious today as well. Firstly, I have contacted my personal advisor. He'll be having an emergency meeting with me at 1:30 p.m., so I'll have more details about what's going to happen to me then. He'll hopefully be able to sort out emergency accommodation for me. Secondly, to those of you saying the Peters can't legally just give me 4 days notice to leave, I will definitely be mentioning this to my PA and getting his advice on it. I don't want to stay here any longer than I need to because since they told me, it's like I don't exist. They just look right through me, but I'm not going to move out until I have safe accommodation. I will outright refuse. I am not going to be made homeless. Thirdly, for those of you suggesting I contact my university, I have an offer from them, but it's only conditional on me achieving my predicted A-levels. Hopefully I will, but since I'm not technically a student yet, I don't know if they will actually provide any support at this stage. Finally, I am also going to ensure that the staying put allowance stops. I will tell my PA today that it should surely be stopped if I'm not living with them. Luckily, I have some money saved. Some people here have said I should be entitled to a bursary when I start university, and I'll have my maintenance student loan to help me. I've already started looking for a job. Update 3. It never bothered me that they were paid to keep me before. Genuinely, it never bothered me at all. I always knew I was a foster child. I was about 15 when I learned that they were paid money to look after me. I told myself it was a good thing, and it probably was. I got loving parents for 11 years, which is more than some people can say. I just never thought they'd make me move out when the payment stopped being as high. I found out that when I was still a child, they were paid £100 per day for me. That's $40K per year. I had never felt different from the family. I had always felt loved and secure. I don't understand why they have changed their minds about me. None of them will even look me in the eye anymore. And it's gotten to the point where I can't leave my room because all I feel is the absence of the love that used to be there. I didn't come down for any meal times, which used to be a rule that you had to follow. If I didn't go down, I wouldn't have gotten any food. But mom brought it up to my room and knocked on the door to say she was going to leave it there for me. I've replayed that moment in my head 100 times, trying to convince myself that they still love me. I called her by her first name when I came home yesterday, not Mum, but Claire. She looked upset when I did that, and part of me is happy about it, while another part feels cruel for doing it. I knew it would hurt her, and I did it anyway. In some ways, I wish she would wake up to the pain she's causing me. I hope she takes it back and says that it was a lapse in judgment and that she loves me and wants me to stay. But if that were going to happen, I think it would have already. I guess I'm not worth the £76 per day they lose by not replacing me with another foster child. When I feel bad about hurting them, I remind myself they're kicking me out to get an extra £76 a day. That's what I'm worth to them. Update 4. Basically, I got removed from my biological family when I was 7. I was taken into foster care and matched with a family called the Peters. I was then raised by the Peters for the remainder of my life, from 7 all the way until now. They originally told me that I could live with them indefinitely as I considered the Peters my family. They applied for a staying put order for me, which basically means they continue to receive about £250 from the government to recognize that they were continuing to support a former foster child after my 18th birthday. As I said before, I was always told by the Peters that I could stay as long as I needed to in order to set myself up in life. Their biological son is 25 and still lives with them. He doesn't work but graduated from university 2 years ago. I have a conditional offer at a local university where I'm studying classics with the aim of becoming a teacher. I start in October if I achieve my predicted A-levels, which I think I will. However, the Peters told me that I had to leave by the end of the week because they wanted to get another foster child. This is something they really sprung on me, and it's been extremely difficult for me. I had to get in contact with my social worker who spoke with the Peters, and now they're letting me stay until the end of August. But the whole family has changed. I explained all this to my best friend and mentioned that I was considering going no contact with them after I moved out. He ranted to me about how ungrateful I'm being to them and how they raised me for 11 years and now they want to give that opportunity to another child in a position like mine. I get that. And that's part of the reason why I feel so guilty. My friend isn't speaking to me now and is calling me selfish for wanting to stay with the Peters like I was promised. He thinks it's unfair for them to try to get rid of me with just 4 days' notice. There were plans they could have taken to transition me into independent living before I turned 18, but they chose not to participate because they told me I could always stay with them. The one time in my life when I needed my friend, he's gone too, and I feel so alone. I can't understand why he's taking their side over mine. I understand the argument that they will continue to help another child, but at the same time, I just wish they didn't have to throw me out to do so. When I suggested to my friend that they could have asked their biological son to move out instead of me, he just said I'm being selfish. I still don't even know if I'm going to go no contact with them, I just said I felt like doing it. And now I wish I hadn't mentioned it because I didn't expect it to cause such an argument. So am I the jerk? Update 5. The Peters' son Jamie has found my original Reddit post. I guess I should have been more careful with the details, but my mind was so frantic at the time of writing it that I just couldn't think straight. I'm not sure how he found it, but considering it has almost 10k upvotes and Jamie was the person who introduced me to Reddit, I guess it might have just popped up on his page. Does anyone know if it might have shown up for him because we're on the same network or in the same location? A few hours ago, Jamie came to my room. He showed me the original post and asked if I had written it. At first I tried to deny it, but I'm an awful liar, so he just knew. He asked why I didn't tell him about this, and I said I thought he knew. He told me he had no idea and would not have supported his parents throwing me out if he had known. He was told I requested to move out. He genuinely seemed shocked and appalled at the details in the post. Against my wishes, he shared the post in the family group chat. He did this out of a desire to defend me. Mom, Dad, I really think you should read this and see the impact this is having on, but I really wish he hadn't done it. They've both read the message, but neither has responded. I have not left my room since. I'm really anxious right now, like I'm at the level just before a panic attack. I can feel one coming on. Update 6. I wasn't even planning on posting from this account again. I haven't posted in almost 2 weeks and have no way of contacting the Peters, but they clearly watch this account. So I just want to put it out there that I will not be scared into silence. I will not be threatened or bullied. If I want to share my story, I will. I have not named any individuals or families in any of my posts. None of my posts have been lies, and I have always spoken only from my own perspective. I don't know why you've sent this letter to me, but I assume you're feeling empowered by the fact that my official complaint went nowhere. However, I want to remind the Peters that I have a screenshot of the post Jamie wrote about me on Reddit, exposing my legal first name and confidential private information about my life. I did not include this information in my initial complaint, but you know as well as I do that if I choose to pass that on, you will be in deep trouble. I don't want to be part of your lives anymore. You clearly do not want to be part of mine, so let's just leave it there. Do not try to threaten me again, otherwise I will expose everything I can. I will write a whole book about my experiences in care and publish it if that's what I want to do. Final update. I'm sorry everyone, it's true that I am not a good person. I have done truly awful things that I just want to forget, but I can't. All your support over the last month has meant so much to me, and I don't think I would be here writing this today without it. I have done terrible things in my past. Really awful things. Things I am so ashamed of. I wish more than anything that I could change my life. I wish I could alter the things I've done. People hear about my past and think I'm some monster, some unfeeling freak. Many times I don't know. The truth is, I don't deserve all the love you guys give me. I don't deserve any of it. No matter how hard I try to move forward, I know someone will always be there to remind me of my mistakes. It's so embarrassing when people talk about your trauma all the time, and I know I started it by posting here. I wish I had never done that. I am starting to think maybe I am having a psychotic break. I am really worried about myself. I hope you all understand that the things I did, that person wasn't me. It isn't who I am now. I don't expect people to forgive me because what I did to innocent people and animals is unforgivable. I am going to log off this account after today, and I don't think I will log back in again. It's too embarrassing to see my past mistakes brought up again and again and again. I just want to be left alone and forget that any of this happened.